A group of state officials involved in pushing forward the Transportation and Climate Initiative, or TCI as it's often referred to, met with about 50 local residents at the Manchester Community Library on Thursday, January 30th, to discuss the proposal and hear feedback from the public about it. The initiative is a regional collaboration of 12 Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states in the District of Columbia that seeks to improve transportation, develop the clean energy economy, and reduce carbon emissions from the transportation sector. The participating states are Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Virginia. It began in 2010, and it's similar to the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which seeks to limit carbon emissions from the electric power generation sector. This one focuses on transportation and contemplates an additional charge in the price of gasoline and other fuels used in transportation, which for some is a bit of a sticking point. It's a market-based mechanism which presupposes, in classic capitalist economic theory, that people will use less of a product if the price is more expensive. Those opposed to it tend to refer to it as a carbon tax, one that Vermonters, particularly those living in rural areas where transportation alternatives are limited, will struggle to afford, even if that revenue is funneled back to them through rebates or other means. Riley Allen of the state's Department of Public Service led a team of state officials who explained what the initiative was trying to do and how it might be structured. At present, the idea is to impose an additional fee on gas purchased by fuel distributors, who presumably would pass that cost along to their customers. When it came the turn of the audience to weigh in and offer feedback, there was no shortage of questions and comments. They kept on coming, one after the other.
From the Burlington, Montpelier area, you're living in a closer proximity to everybody. Right. Southern Vermont, you've got more driving, and the people that are down here that are lucky enough to have really good jobs might have to drive a distance. A lot of people here, their jobs are lawn work. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me it's not only going to impact them on their car, their vehicle, their truck, now it's going to impact them on any of their lawn mowers, leaf blowers, or whatever else they're using.
Yeah, no, those are correct statements.
I realize that.
Yeah, yes ma'am.
I see this as an increase in everything because the gas is going to be brought in, it's going to be taxed, and it's going to be passed on to us in more ways, more than just at the pump. It's going to raise the cost of food, everything.
So we're looking at this obviously from the perspective of the state of Vermont and how it fits into the regional compact. But the larger viewpoint we have to look at, I think, and be considerate of, is how this is going to impact climate change. I mean, climate change is essentially the existential threat that we have to the existence of the planet. And I think we have a moral obligation to do whatever we can when it comes to leaving a planet that hopefully is not a mess to our grandchildren and to their grandchildren.
When it comes to meeting emission targets, electric vehicles are often seen as the best possible pathway forward to meeting those goals. But there's a lot more to it than simply selling or incentivizing people to buy more cars. The underlying infrastructure is also a question.
I think the only way, realistically, Vermont's going to be able to hit these goals, which are very ambitious, is we have to get a lot more electric vehicles on the road. I own an electric vehicle. It's not a sexy Tesla. It's a mundane old Nissan Leaf, but it's zero emissions, okay? I drove it to my friend's house in New Hampshire a couple days ago. I drove it back today. I stopped at a Vermont rest area just south of White River Junction, went inside, talked to the tenant there, and I said, do you have an EV charger here? No, we don't have any plans to get one? No. They're pretty expensive. Now, it wasn't her fault. She's not making that decision. But the point is, I was able to get home, barely. But people are not going to make that transition unless there's an infrastructure. All right? The egg has got to come before the chicken, or however you want to phrase it, whatever metaphor you want to use, right? The infrastructure's got to be there. So.
Afterwards, we spoke with Jim Sullivan, the director of the Bennington County Regional Commission, which helped organize the event.
First of all, it was great to see so many people come out because it's a really important topic and an interesting opportunity. So, debates like this are what's going to, decide what we do. I think it was really interesting to hear the presentation and the discussion about, a program like this that really is, as Riley Allen pointed out, a market-driven approach. So it really is trying to find the most efficient, economically efficient way to achieve a state objective. And I think that's a really positive thing about the program. And I think the other thing that maybe people didn't talk about directly, but I think it's an important point that has been made, is that there's some impacts associated with this. There's some negative impacts associated with anything you do, but the negative impacts associated with not doing anything on those same folks are probably even more severe. I mean, what are we going to tell the people 10, 15 years from now when gasoline prices are 4, 5, 6, we don't know what they're going to be, but they're probably going to be higher. And we say, oh yeah, we had an opportunity to do something, but we didn't do it. And so, now what are your options? Now what are your alternatives? So whether it's TCI or something else, I think it's really important we recognize we need to do something to help those folks out in the future.
The 12 participating states and the District of Columbia are working on a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, which is expected to be finalized by next spring. Areas that are not yet locked down include what fuels should be covered, who has to buy carbon allowances, how the carbon cap might change over time, and who gets what slice of the revenue. Backers of the plan hope to have it ready to be rolled out in about 2 years. For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.